Hey guys, it's Christine. Today we're going to be talking about how we can be less distracted and more motivated. Distractions are everywhere. Distractions, by definition, is anything that pulls you away from what you're trying to focus on in that very moment. In our modern day society, it's incredibly easy to be inundated by distractions. And in certain circumstances, it can be really hard to not be distracted. Maybe you have no choice but to multitask. And having the ability and time and space to do that one thing, focus on that one thing, can sometimes seem like a luxury. Also, our minds, what goes on in our heads, can be very distracting. Sometimes we get stuck in these thought patterns that we would ideally not want to be stuck in, and it really derails our day. Have you ever had those days where you just feel like, man, I really didn't get much done today? We all have those days. But not all distractions are bad. Sometimes distractions can be really good for us. And sometimes we need those good distractions to be better focused in the long run. But in this video, I'm definitely going to be referring to the kind of distraction that we ideally would want to minimize so that we can be more focused, so that we can be more present in the moment. And so we're not questioning, am I just lacking motivation? But before we get into it, don't forget to hit that like button if you do like videos like this one. The first thing that you can do that if you have never done before, I highly recommend you try this out, is to turn off all notifications. I'm talking texts, emails, calls, even like calendar notifications that you might have on your computer, even internal communication platforms like Slack, Google Hangout. Turn it all off. Try setting your phone on airplane mode. You can set it on do not disturb mode. The problem is that you can sometimes feel like you're a slave to these notifications. Like it almost like takes ownership over you. With every little notification, you can't help but check or be on all the time, and you'll feel like you always have to be available, but you do not. Just try it. Try turning it all off for an hour, maybe 2 hours even, and let me know how it feels. Let me know how your body feels. If you haven't done this, you might be doing yourself a huge favor by just giving this a try. This next one might seem really obvious, but the way that you go about it can make a huge difference. And that's to create and set up barriers and also setting up boundaries where necessary. So for some, this might be having a dedicated workspace where you can shut the door and have that quiet time so that you can really concentrate on your work. This could also mean communicating to those around you, like, hey, I really need some quiet. This is like a real life do not disturb mode. Another thing that can really help keep you from shifting your focus on your to-do list or tasks for the day is calendaring. Blocking chunks of time to complete those different tasks throughout the day. So maybe you have some meetings, maybe you need to sit down and do some writing, maybe you need to sit down and do some brainstorming. Even scheduling out those little moments where you just need to take a break, which is the next one, and I'll get more into that later. But schedule everything out, and if at the very least, just write out a to-do list, maybe on a notepad. If calendaring isn't really your thing, writing out that to-do list, you're more ensured to complete at least maybe half of those tasks. Depending, like, don't go too crazy. Don't write like a list that's so long that is unrealistic to get through, but you want to make sure that you at least write down the very few things you want to try to accomplish for that day. And the next one, like I mentioned, is definitely taking breaks. If you're not taking enough breaks, you can end up feeling really fatigued, and if you're stressed and tired, that can cloud your focus for sure. Don't beat yourself up if you need a whole day or days or even weeks for a mental break. Recharging may be the answer. Take time off where you need to. If it seems like you're lacking motivation, what could potentially help is creating a sense of urgency and trying something out like the Pomodoro technique, where you block out 25 minutes and then take a break, a mini break, and then you repeat that. So you block out another 25 minutes to be focused and do your work, and then take another mini break. And then I believe it's like after 4 of those cycles, you take a longer break, and then you repeat that again. Okay, I was unsure of whether to include this one in here or not, but I'm going to because it really helps for me, is to drink more water and not eat a ton of sugar first thing in the morning. Why? Because if you are hungry all the time, it's going to be very distracting. So definitely drink a ton of water. Sometimes you might think you're hungry, but you're actually just thirsty. And then if you eat sugar first thing in the morning, what happens is it makes you crave more sugar. And I don't know about you guys, it also makes me just feel hungrier throughout the day. Like I just feel like I need to keep eating. So try to not eat a ton of sugar first thing in the morning. That's just something that works for me. If it works for you, let me know down below. All right, we're nearing the end, guys. And I'm gonna speak a little bit more about motivation now. So try to pair something you do enjoy with the tasks that you've been putting off. You might be thinking, oh, I'm just distracted, or I have too much to do, so I've just never got it done. But really, you probably just have been putting it off because it might not be your favorite thing to do. For example, one of my not so favorite things to do is to do the dishes. So oftentimes I try to get myself in the right mindset by turning on a podcast and just pairing something that I enjoy with this activity that I don't enjoy as much. In the same vein, you could definitely create like incentives or set up rewards for yourself for after you've completed some tasks. Maybe you get to have a little scoop of ice cream or a piece of chocolate after you've done something that you haven't been really wanting to do, but you finally did it. So you gotta give yourself a pat on the back sometimes, you know? The reason why we get distracted sometimes is because we really do resort to the more comfortable thing to do, the alternative. In those moments, we are definitely choosing distraction. And I know we often want to be less distracted and more motivated because we want to feel like we're being productive. Also, without having a clear idea or vision or a plan for how the day could look, can end up like making you squander your time, and you're just like, oh, what was I supposed to do? What did I want to do today? And then hours passed and you're like, wait. We want to try to avoid that where we can, because it's really more about just feeling empowered to do more because it's better for us. It's not about being more productive just for productivity's sake. It's honestly about self-care, because we want to make the most out of our days. So I'm gonna wrap it up here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.